World powers and Iran agreed to begin implementing a pact to curb Tehran's nuclear program, setting the stage for 6 months of diplomacy intended to end Tehran's atomic weapons threat. We'll have the details on that and more right here, right now on the News Hub. Good morning and welcome. I'm Simon Constable, and we've got Mideast Deputy Bureau Chief Farnaz Fassihi joining us from Beirut, Lebanon now. Farnaz, thank you very much for being there.
Hi, Simon. Thanks for having me.
This is, of course, monumental in its ambitions. We're talking about the slacking off of sanctions initially. What's the first stage of this?
I think the first stage will kick in on January 20th, and I think it will start with Iran, a series of steps that both sides have to take on the first day on January 20th. Iran will stop enriching uranium at 20%, and the world powers will start scaling back on sanctions, targeting Iran's petrochemical and some oil sales, and not all the sanctions, but some of the sanctions. And I think airplane parts is a part of that too.
And some of the money that has been freed, that has been frozen, is going to be freed up, and that is like a part freeing up, and then more will come later. Not everyone in the U.S. is particularly happy about this, are they?
It's safe to say that conservatives on both sides, both in Iran and the U.S., are not very happy about this. I think that you have on both sides of the spectrum, both in Iran and in the U.S., very conservative elements who actually wanted to see this standoff continue, and that they don't see any benefit to having Iran and the U.S. Negotiate over the nuclear power. So I think that this was really pushed by moderate and pragmatic voices on both sides, and hopefully the implementation will go smoothly if they can keep those voices at bay.
Okay, now, there's the moderates in the U.S. want to do it, and moderates in Iran want to get this done too, Rouhani notably.
Right, absolutely. I mean, one distinction in Iran is that, of course, moderates who are in power, like President Rouhani and Foreign Minister Javad Zarif, who's now actually, handling the negotiating team, want this to be done. But in Iran, of course, these policies are dictated and approved by the supreme leader. So he's also on board with these negotiations as well. Otherwise, it wouldn't have been able to go forth.
Now, Farnaz, we mentioned that they're going to get some money as part of the relief from the sanctions, $550 million, but there's a total of sanctions relief will total $7 billion, which in a U.S. scale of things doesn't seem like a whole lot, but Iran has been crippled by sanctions. Totally, it's a major oil power, and yet you can't really get gasoline very easily.
That's true. I think even in Iran, it's not that much money. I mean, Iran, at the best of times, it has, about $100 billion a year of oil revenue. So we're looking at about a total of $4 billion being released of Iran's funds that are assets that are held up. So that's not even that much in Iran, and it's not even going to be released at once. I think the money is going to be released in over a period of 6 months and six payments. So it's not a whole lot for Iran, but it is something, and I think more importantly, it's symbolic.
It certainly is symbolic. Now, Israel has long been afraid of what Iran might do. Is there a risk that Israel decides to bomb Iran anyway? That's always been the worry, that Israel worrying about Iran getting a nuclear weapon and then just deciding to preempt. That's got to be a worry throughout the region.
Well, I think that in the region, sort of the prevailing thought is that Israel would not enter a war in Iran without the United States approval. So the fact that the U.S. and Iran are sort of on a path of negotiations, and President Obama seems very intent to veto sanctions and to make sure that there is that peace and negotiations are given a chance, sort of makes everybody feel confident that the threat of war between Iran and the West or Israel is sort of diminishing now. Having said that, Israel's Prime Minister, Mr. Netanyahu, has expressed his doubts about this. He has said that this is not an acceptable deal to him. But I don't know whether that means that Israel will actually go at it alone. I don't even think militarily they can do that.